Landing gear retracted. Ship released. Engines engaged. Frameshift drive charging. Frameshift drive charging. Frameshift drive charging. Ready to engage. 4, 3, 2, 1, engage. Frameshift drive charging.
Superpowers react to latest NMLA strike. Relations between the Empire...
4, 3, 2, 1.
The Federation have deteriorated following a terror attack by neo-Marlinists against a federal starport. Kepler Orbital in the Atropos system was bombed by the NMLA to eliminate several of its captured members before they could reveal anything under interrogation by the Federal Security Service. Imperial Ambassador Imogen Luciana made this statement. The NMLA was obviously able to make use of its bomb-making factories within the LTT-1935 system. If the Federation had not resisted our investigation, we would have shut these down and prevented the attack. Our warning about the extremist threat went unheeded, and the Federation is now paying the price.
Frameshift drive charging.
Once again insist that all Marlinists are repatriated to the Empire. Ambassador Jordan Rochester has not responded, but did confirm that federal embassies in several Imperial systems have closed.
4, 3, 2, 1.
To violent anti-Marlinist protests place diplomatic staff's lives at risk. In Congress, Vice President Brad Mitchell directly blamed Shadow President Felicia Winters for the recent attack. He accused accused her of laying out the welcome mat for terrorists by offering sanctuary to the Marlinists. Other congressmen argued that she had prioritized aid for Imperial rather than federal citizens. There is evidence that Winters is now losing some of her recently gained political capital. However, the Liberal Party's popularity remains high in the wake of President Hudson's alleged association with the destruction of Starship One. Terrorist bombing at Federal Starport. Pilots Federation alert. Multiple explosions have struck Kepler orbital in the Atropos system, causing huge damage and loss of life. Witnesses have observed signs of corrosion damage to the starport.
Frameshift drive charging.
This is characteristic of an explosive designed by the engineer Liz Ryder that deploys Thargoid caustic enzymes, and which was used in the bombings of Imperial starports in September. The NMLA has claimed
4, 3, 2, 1.
responsibility for the attack. Its propaganda channels praised the 9 martyrs, a reference to the terrorist suspects recently arrested by the Federal Security Service. There were also warnings of further reprisals if the Federation impedes our cause. The FSS has since confirmed that the captive NMLA members were being held in secure facilities at Kepler Orbital, which have been completely destroyed by the blasts. It is assumed
Frameshift drive charging.
they were specifically targeted to prevent the prisoners revealing information about the paramilitary group under interrogation. Federal authorities are urgently requesting support from the galactic community to assist
4, 3, 2, 1.
repair efforts and to rescue survivors still trapped at the damaged station. Terrorists identified among Marlinist refugees. A screening process for Marlinist
Warning. Temperature critical. Incoming mission
arriving in
critical
the
message.
Federation has located several members of the NMLA terrorist group. Vice President Brad Mitchell personally initiated a Federal Security Service operation to uncover any new Marlinist extremists concealed among the refugee population. The Vice President delivered this report to Congress. After standard ID scans flagged up some potential suspects, FSS officers employed more vigorous checks and interview techniques. They found 9 individuals who were active members of the NMLA. The terrorists have been transported to secure facilities for further interrogation, after which they will be handed over to Imperial authorities. Our security services remain vigilant against this danger that the Liberal Party has invited into our communities. Vox Galactica featured a statement by Marlinist community leader Dr. Jenna Fairfax. I am horrified to learn of NMLA hiding among us. These killers do not represent the principles of Marlinism, and we are happy to cooperate in expelling them. In related news, protesters on several federal worlds have warned of increased crime, terrorism, and economic damage unless all refugees are sent back to the Empire. Counter-protests have called for the Marlinists to be welcomed as fellow believers in democratic government. Coalsack Nebula campaign completes initial stages. Pilots Federation alert. An Alliance initiative has successfully prepared the Coalsack Nebula for exploitation and reduced the Thargoid's presence. Traders delivered shipments of power generators, robotics, structural regulators and building fabricators, which will be used to help construct several new facilities in the region. The quantity of commodities received will result in construction of the following for the 26th of November 3306 Betancourt-based starport in the Musca-Dark region PJPB61 system. Additional services: interstellar factor, human technology broker, encoded material trader, extended range of multi-purpose ships. Call point starport in the Coalsack sector VU0B66 system. Additional services: interstellar factor, raw material trader, extended range of multi-purpose ships and mining equipment, fleet carrier administration. Hanu Arena starport in the Musca-Dark region IMVC224 system. Additional services: interstellar factor, range of combat ships and weapons. Burin Port starport in the Coalsack sector KNSB49.
DeLacy, Alpha, Romeo, Mike. Follow all federal docking protocols before attempting to dock. Unable to connect to within
Additional
7,500
services,
meters for
interstellar
access,
factor,
Commander.
improved outfitting options, manufactured material trader. Commodore Morag Halloran of the Alliance Defense Force delivered an update on the security procedures. Our efforts to clear the systems of Thargoid vessels were
Access approved. Proceed to landing pad 16.
hugely boosted by independent pilots. Their skills have enabled our transports to travel to the nebula in relative safety.
Scan detected.
The Alliance is collaborating with several corporations to investigate the Coalsack Nebula for
Automated docking confirmed.
commercial and scientific sites of interest. Emperor decides Hadrian Duval's status. Princess Aisling Duval's request for her cousin, Imperator Hadrian Augustus Duval, to be accepted into the imperial family has been denied. Emperor Arisa Lavigny Duval's decision was delivered to the Senate by Chancellor Anders Blaine. Her Majesty acknowledges that Hadrian is a Duval by blood and offers royal pardons to him and his followers for previous crimes against the Empire. However, she does not bestow upon him the title of prince, nor offer any formal position within the imperial.
Landing gear deployed.
Aisling Duval and Hadrian Duval both expressed disappointment, but agreed to accept the decree. The Senate has now ratified the treaty of
Landing sequence completed. Ground crew have been dispatched.
Arisa, which removes Nova Imperium's outlaw status in return for accepting Emperor Arisa's rule and contributing to operations against the NMLA. The Imperial Herald's political journalist Cassia Carvalho commented, "This surprisingly even-handed judgment is widely seen as bound to pressure from the Senate, where there is much loyalty to Aisling Duval. Some interpret it as atonement, or regaining political goodwill, for the purge of Nova Imperium
Incoming mission-critical message.
3305, which included the execution of several senators. The image this projects is of an empire coming together against the greater threat posed by neo-Marlinists. But there is speculation that an alliance between the two youngest Duvals may one day challenge the Emperor for the throne. Alliance launches Coalsack Nebula campaign. Pilots Federation alert. Commodities and anti-Xeno support are requested as the Alliance begins exploitation of the Coalsack Nebula. The Alliance plans to construct several new outposts in the Coalsack Nebula. From these, commercial and scientific operations will be conducted to locate fresh sources of meta-alloys and other potential sites of interest. The initiative was prompted by the findings of a planetary survey team 200 years ago, which were only discovered after an abandoned megaship arrived in the Chukchan system. Shipments of power generators, robotics, structural regulators and building fabricators are required, and can be delivered to the megaship Spirit of Nisa in the Muscadark region PJPB61 system. The more commodities that are supplied, the more outposts will be upgraded to starports and the greater the range of services they will offer. Commodore Morag Halloran of the Alliance Defense Force discussed security arrangements. We anticipate a heavy Thargoid presence within the Coalsack Nebula. Therefore, it is a strategic necessity that we act now to curtail the threat to future exploration. Independent pilots and anti-Xeno squadrons can serve the Alliance by focusing their efforts on the Coalsack Sector KNSB49, Coalsack Sector VUOB66, Muscadark Region IMVC224 and Muscadark Region PJPB61 systems, which will host the new structures. Federal system resists Imperial takeover. Pilots Federation alert. The Federation has successfully maintained control of the LTT-1935 system, following a battle against local Imperial forces. The conflict was caused by an Imperial investigation that traced deliveries of bomb-making materials from this system to an NMLA workshop. Colonel Ernest Harris of the LTT-1935 Confederacy stated, "The LTT-1935 system remains part of the Federation, now that we have defended against the Empire's attempt to take control. Our citizens have been saved from the indignities of Imperial interrogation. In gratitude to the federal auxiliaries and independent pilots who helped support our freedom, rewards are now available at Wolfport. There was also a message from Captain Axel Cyprian of the LYS Corps. This is a serious setback in our war against the NMLA terrorists, who the Federation seem eager to protect. Nevertheless, for all those courageous pilots who flew on our behalf, we can offer generous payments from strength of purpose. Hadrian de Val seeks reintegration with the Empire. Imperator Hadrian Augustus de Val has recovered from an assassination attempt and signaled a new direction for Nova Imperium. Princess Aisling de Val provided advanced medical care for Imperator de Val after a near-fatal attack by NMLA assassins. Following a period of discussion, she told the media, "At this time of crisis we need allies more than ever.
Docking coupler
Heritage should not be
Observe
denied.
station
I
regulations
have
on
therefore
exit.
already requested sovereign consent for him to be accepted into the imperial family as Prince Hadrian." Hadrian de Val broadcast this message from Dyson City. "I owe my life to Aisling, but life without purpose means nothing, and the de Val's purpose has always been to protect the Empire. I seek to adopt my birthright and help defend our traditional ways of life. However, many of us see disturbing parallels between the brutal purge of Nova Imperium's followers in 3305 and the current crusade against the Marlinists. I call upon those in power not to repeat this mistake. The NMLA is the common enemy we must unite against." Many senators publicly agreed that the Empire must heal past divisions to focus on the Neo-Marlinist threat. Others have voiced concerns at the repercussions of Emperor Hengist's illegitimate grandson becoming an heir to the throne. As yet, Emperor Arisa Lavigny de Val has not responded. Ghost ship leads alliance to new resources. Discoveries made 200 years ago by an abandoned megaship have revealed untapped sources of meta-alloys within the Coalsack Nebula. The Adamastor, which was launched
Drive charging.
in 3111, returned to the Chuchin system from the Coalsack Nebula on autopilot with no traces of its crew. Thargoid barnacle sites were found in the nebula by independent pilots.
3, 2, 1.
The Alliance Assembly has announced an expedition to thoroughly explore the nebula, with the primary goal of securing fresh sources of meta-alloys. A press release stated, "Recent Thargoid activity in the Bridgehead Nebula and overexploitation of that region mean that this latest discovery has come at an opportune time. The Coalsack Nebula will now be the focus of an initiative to identify
Frameshift drive charging.
sites of commercial and scientific interest. To achieve this, we have established new partnerships with several corporations including Sirius Atmospherics. Although the mystery of the Adamastor may never be fully resolved,
3, 2, 1.
we hope it will leave a positive legacy for the people of the Alliance." Mention of corporate partnerships caused ripples in certain industries, with speculation that these have been in the pipeline for months.
Warning. Taking heat damage.
Commentators also observed that 3307 will be an election year for the Alliance, placing pressure on Prime Minister Edmund Mahone to secure economic stability.
Frameshift drive charging.
Terrorism spreads as superpower conflicts increase. Neo-Marlinist extremists are continuing their campaign of terror, while the Empire and Federation clash over issues
4, 3, 2, 1.
caused by Marlinist refugees. The Imperial Herald has featured updates on terrorist activity across the Empire. The NMLA has claimed responsibility for over 50 bomb attacks during the last 3 weeks. These mostly targeted local authority buildings and security forces, killing hundreds. Hit squads have also assassinated several high-profile individuals connected to the de Vals, including the Emperor's relative Baroness
Frameshift drive charging.
R.A. Lavigny. Senior IISS leaders have admitted to being unprepared for how organized and well-equipped the paramilitary group is. Critics suggest that the mass arrest of Marlinists may have radicalized many people who were
Frameshift drive charging.
already sympathetic to the Republican ideology. The Federal Times has focused on the tensions between superpowers. With diplomatic channels closing down, the possibility that the confrontation in LTT-1
4, 3, 2,
935 might escalate into all-out war cannot be ignored. There is added pressure from the exodus of millions of Marlinists, whose beliefs align with the Federation's democratic principles. President Hudson is still suffering from reduced congressional support, and many have said that it feels like Felicia Winters is running the show. But although her humanitarian efforts undoubtedly saved many refugees' lives, the acceptance of imperial outcasts into federal society remains in question.
frameshift drive charging.
Federal and Imperial forces engage in battle. Pilots Federation alert. The Empire's counter-terrorism operation in the LTT-1935 system has tripped.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Armed resistance from the Federation. The Imperial Internal Security Service's investigation into the NMLA terrorist group led its agents to LTT-1935, a Federation-controlled system in neutral space. Military vessels were called in for support, only to be met in combat by Federal forces. A declaration was made by Colonel Ernest Harris of the LTT-1935
Frameshift drive charging.
Confederacy. The Empire cannot dominate and arrest our citizens as it did with the Marlinists. We claim the right to defend the Federation's territory from such aggressive tactics. Captain Axel Sip
4, 3, 2, 1.
of the LYS Corp responded. The IISS has confirmed that the Neo-Marlinists have secret bomb-making factories concealed within LTT-1935. To prevent future atrocities, it is vital that we take control of this system and shut down the NMLA's source of weapons. The LTT-1935 Confederacy has requested help from
Frameshift drive charging.
independent pilots to defend LTT-1935 from occupation by the Empire. The LYS Corp has also asked for auxiliaries to assist in gaining control of the system.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Federation accused of supporting the NMLA. The Empire has revealed new evidence that suggests the NMLA terrorist group may be receiving help from elements within the Federation. A report from the Imperial Internal Security Service stated, with information provided by the engineer Liz Ryder, we located an abandoned workshop where explosives have been constructed using her blueprints. Traces were found of Thargoid caustic enzymes, matching the payloads delivered during the starport bombings. Micro-signage on cargo containers identified bulk deliveries of equipment from a federal system in neutral space, where we believe the NMLA has a second bomb-making facility. IISS agents are currently investigating to confirm these findings. Federal Ambassador Jordan Rochester refuted these allegations. The suggestion that we're responsible for the Empire's homegrown extremists is laughable. As with their persecution of Marlinists, this is another excuse for an inability to solve their own problems. Imperial Ambassador Imogen Luciana responded, there have long been rumors that the NMLA has the Federation's support to destabilize the Empire and promote Republican propaganda. If true, there will be severe consequences. In related news, some federal systems are struggling to cope with an influx of Marlinist refugees. Public disobedience, food shortages and epidemics have been reported in the theaters, LTT-1935 and HIP 36081 systems, due to a lack of additional resources. Hadrian Duval saved by Aisling Duval's intervention. Princess Aisling Duval has provided life-saving aid to Imperator Hadrian Augustus Duval, who was severely wounded by NMLA terrorists. The INV Akanas Courage transported her to the Parisa system where she offered protection against further assassination attempts. Hadrian Duval was transferred to the Majestic-class Interdictor's Medical Bay, surrounded by both his Praetorian Guard and Imperial troops. He received advanced treatment including Vitadine nanomeds, and is no longer in critical condition. This unorthodox intervention has drawn both criticism and praise from senators and public alike. Nova Imperium is outlawed for condition due to its isolationist policies, and its leader is not recognized by
Docking request granted.
the imperial family. However, a non-aggression pact was agreed between Aisling and Hadrian in 3305. A defiant Aisling Deval told the Imperial Herald, "I recently lost one member of my family to these extremists. I am not about to lose another. Regardless of politics, Hadrian is my cousin, and there are precious few Devals left alive." Nova Imperium's head of security,
Landing gear deployed.
Praetor Leo Magnus, commented, "I am confident that our Imperator would have survived, but we do appreciate Her Highness's assistance. It remains a mystery how the NMLA could come so close to succeeding, but my investigations
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
continue." Empire and Federation clash over Marlinists. The Empire has repeated its demand for the Federation to deport all Marlinist emigrants, as tensions increase between the two superpowers. Hundreds of thousands of political refugees reached federal space after fleeing to escape the Empire's hunt for neo-Marlinist terrorists. Congress has agreed to provide sanctuary, along with offers of permanent residency. Imperial Ambassador Imogen Luciana stated, "Our people must be safely returned so we can identify dangerous NMLA activists before they gain the opportunity to inflict further harm. We have no desire for the Federation to suffer the same horrific attacks." A response was given by Federal Ambassador Jordan Rochester. "As always, the Empire promises one thing and does another. This is not an altruistic effort to spare us from terrorists. It is a totalitarian purge of believers in democracy." There are reports that both superpowers have suspended many official channels of communication. Political commentators have observed that the Federation's actions could be construed as the mass kidnapping of Imperial citizens, which would be an act of war. Supplies for Marlinist refugees successfully delivered. A federal charity initiative to deliver vital supplies for Marlinist refugees from the Empire has concluded. Safeguard Interstellar, a humanitarian aid organization, received an impressive response to its request to provide basic necessities to Marlinist immigrants claiming asylum in the Federation. CEO Noel Beaumont announced, "These much-needed shipments of basic medicines, clothing, food cartridges, fruit and vegetables, and evacuation shelters will be used to sustain the Marlinist populations in the LTT 3607, Charanda and Ened systems, at least until they can receive the state support granted by Congress. Our affiliate, the Fion Liberals, will be pleased to reward contributing pilots at Fox Enterprise in the LFT 625 system." The charity shared a message from Dr. Jenna Fairfax, a Marlinist community leader. "To all the pilots who brought these life-saving supplies, thank you. Leaving our homes has been incredibly difficult, but you and Safeguard Interstellar have provided ports in the storm. Many of us hope to start afresh in the Federation, where we know our democratic ideals will be nourished." Ghost ship arrives in Chukchan system. Pilots Federation alert. An abandoned megaship that set out 2 centuries ago has returned on automatic pilot to the Chukchan system. Local security forces were scrambled to intercept an unidentified vessel that was detected on a collision course with Chukchan 5B. The megaship displayed no signs of life, so tugs were deployed to wrench it into a safe orbit. This caused onboard power systems to overload with explosive results, damaging cargo holds and spilling
Landing gear retracted. Ship released.
The name of the ship was confirmed as the Adamastor, but no further information is available in the public domain. Specialists from the Alliance Salvage Guild boarded the derelict to conduct an investigation. Their preliminary report stated, "The Adamastor has been traveling at sublight speed through interstellar space for nearly 200 years. There are no remains of the crew. All escape pods and secondary craft have been launched, and several airlocks were manually opened from within." A complete absence of identification suggests that this ship was intended for clandestine operations. All data drives have been deliberately erased. There is evidence of a reinforced cargo hold, fitted with what looks like the remains of environmental equipment. Recent fire damage makes it impossible to be more specific. The ship's original destination is unknown, having returned to its launch point on autopilot. Calculating its trajectory implies that it passed near the HIP 61595, HIP 64011 and HIP 65201 systems. The Adamastor will remain in orbit for further examination. Terrorist hit squad targets Hadrian Duval. Imperator Hadrian Augustus Duval has been severely wounded in an assassination attempt by neo-Marlinist extremists. The attack took place at Dyson City in the Spaaaace system, headquarters of the isolationist organization Nova Imperium. A small team of armed intruders broke into the command deck and opened fire. 3 people were killed and 4 injured, including Hadrian Duval, before his Praetorian Guard eliminated the assassins. The NMLA has claimed responsibility. On propaganda channels, the paramilitary group vows to sever every head of the Duval Hydra, and calls for all citizens to rise up and demand democracy. Praetor Leo Magnus, Nova Imperium's head of security, gave this statement to Vox Galactica. The Imperator is in a critical condition but receiving our finest medical care. I am personally overseeing an investigation into how the NMLA infiltrated our starport and bypassed security checks. Such attacks are as sickening as they are cowardly, and Nova Imperium stands firmly against these terrorists. Hadrian Duval is the illegitimate grandson of Emperor Hengist. His father, the late Commander Hector Jansen, was the result of a secret liaison with a household slave. Although disowned by the imperial family, Hadrian claims to be a rightful heir to the throne. Congress votes to accept Marlinist immigrants. The Federation will grant sanctuary to Marlinist political refugees from the Empire, following a congressional vote in favor of Felicia Winters. President Zachary Hudson had stated that illegal immigrants in the federal system's Charender, INED, HIP 36081, LTT 1935, LTT 3607 and Thetis would be detained and returned to Imperial space. This was challenged by Shadow President Felicia Winters, who argued that they deserved a more compassionate response. Congress debated and then voted on her proposal, which received majority support. Government funding will soon be released to provide resources and accommodation for the refugee population. Shadow President Winters told the media, "Charities such as Safeguard Interstellar are already doing excellent work, but now we can officially offer safe haven and temporary citizenship to all Marlinists. These innocent people only seek what we in the Federation take for granted: democracy, fairness and political representation. Their values are closer to ours than the Empire's, and we have an obligation to protect them." Several news feeds, including the Federal Times and Sol Tuli, commented that President Hudson's authority has been undermined by his refusal to comment on the charges against Fleet Admiral Vincent. The accompanying rumors of corruption and conspiracy have had a demoralizing effect on his supporters and increased the Liberal Party's popularity. Superpowers react to latest NMLA strike. Relations between the Empire and the Federation have deteriorated following a terror attack by neo-Marlinists against a federal starport. Kepler orbital in the Atropos system was bombed by the NMLA to eliminate several of its captured members before they could reveal anything under interrogation by the Federal Security Service.
Flight assist on.
Imperial Ambassador
Flight assist on.
Imogen Luciana made this statement. The NMLA was obviously able to make use of its bomb-making factories within the LTT 1935 system. If the Federation had not resisted our investigation,
Heat sink deployed.
we would have shut these down and prevented the attack. Our warning about the extremist threat went unheeded, and the Federation is now paying the price. We once again insist that all Marlinists are repatriated to the Empire. Ambassador Jordan Rochester has not responded, but did confirm that federal embassies in several Imperial systems have closed after violent anti-Marlinist protests placed diplomatic staff's lives at risk. In Congress, Vice President Brad Mitchell directly blamed Shadow President Felicia Winters for the recent attack. He accused her of laying out the welcome mat for terrorists by offering sanctuary to the Marlinists. Other congressmen argued that she had prioritized aid for Imperial rather than federal citizens. There is evidence that Winters is now losing some of her recently gained political capital. However, the Liberal Party's popularity remains high in the wake of President Hudson's alleged association with the destruction of Starship One. Terrorist bombing at Federal Starport. Pilots Federation alert. Multiple explosions have struck Kepler orbital in the Atropos system, causing huge damage and loss of life. Witnesses have observed signs of corrosion damage to the starport. This is characteristic of an explosive designed by the engineer Liz Ryder that deploys Thargoid caustic enzymes, and which was used in the bombings of Imperial starports in September. The NMLA has claimed responsibility for the attack. Its propaganda channels praised the 9 martyrs, a reference to the terrorist suspects recently arrested by the Federal Security Service. There were also warnings of further reprisals if the Federation impedes our cause. The FSS has since confirmed that the captive NMLA members were being held in secure facilities at Kepler Orbital, which have been completely destroyed by the blasts. It is assumed that they were specifically targeted to prevent the prisoners revealing information about the paramilitary group under interrogation.
Frameship charge detected.
Federal authorities are urgently requesting support from the galactic community to assist
Scan detected.
repair efforts and to rescue survivors still trapped at the damaged station. Terrorists identified among Marlinist refugees. A screening process for Marlinist asylum seekers arriving in the
Frameship charge detected.
Federation has located several members of the NMLA terrorist group. Vice President Brad Mitchell personally initiated a Federal Security Service operation to uncover any new Marlinist extremists concealed among the refugee
Sounds
population.
really cool, but
The Vice President delivered this report to
all we do
Congress.
only in-game comms.
After
I don't know
standard
if you can
ID
hear my
scans
I
flagged
can't
up some
remember.
potential suspects, FSS officers employed more vigorous checks
very
and
authentic
interview
sounding,
techniques. They
way
found
they do
9
the radio.
individuals who were active members of the NMLA.
Yeah.
The terrorists have been transported to secure facilities for further interrogation, after which they will be handed over to Imperial authorities. Our security services remain vigilant against this danger that the Liberal Party has invited into our communities. Vox Galactica featured a statement by Marlinist community leader Dr. Jenna Fairfax. I am horrified to learn of NMLA hiding among us. These killers do not represent the principles of Marlinism, and we are happy to cooperate in expelling them. In related news, protesters on several federal worlds have warned of increased crime, terrorism, and economic damage unless all refugees are sent back to the Empire. Counter-protests have...
No?
called for the Marlinists to be welcomed as fellow believers in democratic government. Coalsack Nebula campaign completes initial stages.
Very cool. I still have to find you somehow. I think we might need to do a jump or something. No, I'm outside the base. It's a nav point for somewhere to go. Where do you want to go? What's your plan? The system, or what did you mark? I can't see what you marked. Oh, I'm sure we can find something to do around here. What were you doing? Bounty hunting. Westport stuff. Okay. I don't know if you're equipped for bounty hunting. But one of the quickest ways to make money with that is to find a mining cluster and just hang out or wait for pirates to show up. Conflict zones are good as well, but you tend to get your ass handed to you there. That's the thing is I'm not sure. It's like I don't know where mining clusters are. There's these new icons in the system map that I don't know what the fuck they are. They just have these weird names. Origin, Hammond. Where mining area is.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
Sheesh. I don't do mining at all. I've literally never done mining. But is your ship rigged for mining? You need a mining laser, shit like that. I don't know where we're going.
Landing gear retracted. Ship released. Engines engaged.
Dead. Obviously fucked up something. Alpha Centauri. Next to Sol. I've always wanted to go there. I can't go to Sol. Because apparently you need a permit to go to Sol. Centauri is the closest system to ours. There's a big ass star. There is a couple of a lot of things happening there. What are these icons in the system? Don't understand what they... Like, mining belts. What the fuck is it? Yeah, it's yeah, might as well check it out, I guess.
Frameshift drive
Why not?
charging.
Here we go. Oh, I can jump straight there. Awesome.
4, 3, 2,
Oh, it's within 20 light years, so yeah. Yeah. Don't use the never route thingy, just select it, like mark it. Then it'll give you a point straight there if it's within your jump range. You can jump there.
frameshift drive charging.
Jesus, what's your jump range? Obviously not 17 light years.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
I don't want what these weird icons are. I'm gonna go to one of them.
Frameshift drive charging.
Protecting the scenic route.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage. Scan complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one, engage.
No, I'm in Alpha. Beacons are good for bounties as well.
Frameshift drive charging.
Jesus Christ.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Oh, it's carrier ships or something. Euro Dawn XNT. Something. It's the first. I'll just wait for you. It's the first thingy closest to the sun where you pop out. Zero Dawn XNT. Oh wait, okay. It's the Alpha Centauri fleet carrier. Zero Dawn XNT. Oh, wait, okay. OBK. Oh, okay.
Hello? 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 Danke für mein Milli.
No worries.
Okay, also danke für mein betaltes alles bei dir.
I will have it.
Danke.
Frameshift drive charging.
Das ist was?
4, 3,
Can you what is saying?
1, engage.
Versta niet. Ik kan om je woord, maar je is uitvaarbaar. Ik denk dat omdat ik wijn ze kan moet.
Dus 3.3 light years back from Earth.
Ah? Oké. Dankie vir die kossies. Dit is baie lekker. Lekker slaap en sê vir jou maak is jammer ek was nie daar nie.
Dis okay. Ek is seker sy het ook wel gegee.
Iets lek my voet. O, hulle scratch. Creepy.
Zo freak. Zero Dawn, you can refuel here.
This carrier is
And repair.
considerate pilots. Fly safely, Commander. Access granted. Please follow standard docking procedure, Commander.
Carrier ship icons. Tariff supply applies to service.
Docking request confirmed. Assisted approach is underway.
Landing gear deployed.
Contact confirmed. Clamps engaged. Greetings, Commander. We are glad to have you.
Let's talk. Really? That's like 63 clears. No, you can house flip. Hmm? See how you feel. Okay, yes. Supplies is maar baie fucking limited hier so hoor.
Yep.
Oh my god. I am old man. Remember, you married me like that. Is it?
Oh wow, you can sell the information of the systems you've been to.
Yeah, you have to be more than 20 light years away
Incoming message.
to be able to sell it. Ah,
I just sold a lot.
yes, you fucking son. Huh? What'd you say? Because I have a lot of stuff already.
So not much we can do here.
I see any mining rings or clusters or whatever the fuck they call them. Yeah, oh, the fucking ram again.
I to... Oh jeez.
Yeah, good luck finding one.
So I guess we're just gonna go blow shit up.
I can see you now, at least. Yeah.
Landing gear retracted.
Ship released. Departure authorized.
With the Viper.
Flight assist on.
I am almost going to you. Looking right at you. Flashing my lights at you.
Flight assist on.
Plug in the headset, baby.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Plug in the headset. Let's just go back onto Discord. Yeah.
So we can just put off the audio real quick.
Perfect. I don't know where you turn that off though. Well, I guess you just yeah, mute voice volume. Yeah, you just mute the voice volume.
What the fuck?
How you
I
doing?
hope you have shields active, Commander. Please fly safely.
I wanted to get a closer look. You're upside down.
No, you're upside down.
I can actually see you inside your cockpit. That's
great.
great.
If you fucking fly into me again, there's gonna be problems.
Just getting a close look.
Let's look. What the fuck is this shit? Why is it doing this weird thing? There you are. Yeah. Oh, that's weird.
Are you blinded?
Not really.
The lights aren't that bright.
Kom in, kom in.
Come on.
Common. I can't see you.
Can't.
Your chairs are empty.
What?
You're a ghost
you?
ship.
No, turn on your lights.
What?
Turn on your lights. Your chair looks empty as well until I turn my lights on.
How do I turn on my lights?
Nee, fuck, ek weet nie. Holding B and then you press left on the D-pad.
Well, shit, son.
I don't know, try L or something. I don't fucking know.
Well, it doesn't look like I'm going to do anything.
Just give it some time. A bit of the night.
There.
There I am. There's quite bright.
You're damn bright, man.
Ooh!
Why are you flying into me? Now there's going to be hell to pay. Weapons are deployed and armed. Oh, sweet. Look at that. Oh, isn't that cute? Little pulse lasers. Oh. We need to kill shit. I guess we can go.
Why is your landing gear still out?
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe just hang on. It's updating.
See you.
What's updating?
Steam is doing a fucking update. Updating Steam information. Let's take a look at that time.
Sounds about right.
Wait, did you see 103?
It came on earlier.
I have to just wait for this thing to finish. No, you don't have patience. Just give it a second. 77. You're really not gonna wait for it. Just get it in. No, it's fine. Let's go. Huh? Why is it like this? Fucking deep-bloated. Shit.
Outside just moved. I could have sworn
Fly to the sun.
said no one ever.
That sounds like a dream.
Drop out.
I thought.
And then you find the nav point. There's always a nav point near a star, and there's usually a lot of wanted oaks that pop up there.
That'd be good.
Yeah, that's the one we want. We should just use
It's because you said no.
I said close. No.
Well, it's the same thing. And everything goes fucking.
Why is TeamViewer running? TeamViewer isn't installed. It's working.
Is it you that's going? It's like Ashley says, is it Dennis?
There we
Maybe
go.
you killed Dennis. I don't think I did the same damage. This is a
Katja.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, there's a Katja. It looks like a little baboon at the moment because it's got like patches of hair. It doesn't really have hair. It's still fluffy. But she is the sweetest little thing.
She looks pretty cute.
Updating your game quick. Because we have 2 minutes. It's downloading the new free DLC.
Is this thing also updating? What the fuck is happening? Like, I mean, really not.
That's how updates work, baby.
But it needs to be ready when I log in.
It's not how updates work.
You need to get into the habit of updating my shit before I get there.
Well, if I knew when you were planning to play, which seems to be few and far
You
between.
should just assume. Sometimes assumption is not a fuck up. Okay? For the nigger bed.
Life. I'm going to go full altered carbon.
If I knew I could transfer your personality into a younger version. This looks good killed.
This thing is gonna stay on. As soon as I go to bed, it's coming off.
Hmm?
As soon as I go to bed, this thing's coming off. It's not going to stay on.
Pull it as well. Pull it as well.
Yeah.
Het is in
Zie
je
je.
beenderen.
Het is die been.
Misschien dat we dat gaan checken. Dat is niet de eerste keer.
Do you know how this works? Yeah. So you'll see somebody comes up wanted. Then you start shooting.
Oh look, it says update required.
No, it's done. That's Fall Guys. Oh, mouse flipper is done. Okay, I've got one.
But you guys have food. I don't understand what you're doing.
That's a federal agent.
No, what Jay Farnsworth. And probably his buddy as well. No, not his buddy. Just you and Jay Farnsworth. No, I just updated all your shit. Why are you not playing? Multi-cannons. I don't know when you want to play. have to scan them to see if they want it.
I don't think the ship has or does have a scanner.
Why are my cannons not linked? Fire groups. Why are they shooting separately?
What the fuck do I scan?
Automatically scans, guys. You just need to like keep your eyes on them. Have them in sight. Those are fine. These don't.
You just fired it into this place.
Two of my multi-cannons aren't firing. It's just not shooting. They are. Oh, those two spin up like really slowly. Okay. I see. Here's my use chat. Do this. I don't use that button. Night vision. Switches. I don't know. Reload my weapons. There's no such option. You'd think it would be under weapons, but it's not.
What do you want to do?
Reload my fucking guns.
They auto reload.
No, there was always a reload button.
Interesting. Mine does that automatically.
No, it does when they run out, but there was an option to manually reload them. Let's see if I retract them.
Self-destruct. Why would that even be an option?
Oh, that's an option. I don't know why, but it is. paint expert.
This is not a very active.
No, this beacon is a bit. System authorities dispatching ETA. System authorities. There's a fight happening. Somebody's bad guy.
This guy.
Yeah, it's that guy.
That one.
Killed him.
To shoot it.
System authority. You know, you make good money. You're in like the mining rings. And when those pirate anacondas show up. That's not that is that I'm trying to take that without I'm still saving that. I jumped. We could follow him. Oh, I don't have that module. Never mind. Is it? You can follow him by going through his FSD wake. Oh, here's another fight. Yes, these oaks are jumping fast. Shit's gonna start clearing out now fast.